Deliberations in the trial of Mexican drug lord El Chapo are set to begin today. But first, the judge is expected to give several hours of instructions to the jury. El Chapo is also facing drug and murder conspiracy charges. If convicted, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. Disturbing new allegations were revealed in court documents Friday, including that El Chapo drugged and raped young girls. So with us now is CBS News legal analyst Rikki Klieman. Thank you for joining us, Rikki. Now, these new allegations were not part of testimony at all. They were part of documents that were sealed. The information was kept away from the jury for various reasons. But let's talk about that. How do we know about this stuff?
Well, what happened was the New York Times and Vice Media has been petitioning the court to open a lot of these sealed documents. A great deal of this case has been kept not only from the jury, but it's been kept from the public. And in this particular instance, these allegations are so reprehensible. They are just enough for you to really want to find this person guilty of almost anything. And the unfortunate part, and I say this looking at justice with a capital J, is that they were released just before the jury begins to deliberate. Either they should have been released a long time ago, or it would have been better if they were released after the jury came to a conclusion. Because if any of this information gets to the jury will be predisposed to convict him, having nothing to do with the evidence. So let's look at what these terrible allegations are. What is said is that El Chapo, on a regular basis, sexually assaulted, raped girls around the age of 13. And that it had to do with his masculinity, that he was then feeling more masculine. He called these women, these young girls, vitamins. It made him feel like a bigger man, like a stronger man. And when he needed more energy to conduct his criminal enterprise of drug trafficking, he had these girls brought to him. Many were blindfolded. They were drugged. And the irony, if there is any irony in such disgusting information, is that one of the people who also did the drugging and the bringing of the women was Alex Cifuentes. And he, of course, is a primary government witness in this case, and one that Jeffrey Lichtman, as a defense lawyer, really went after. But he's someone who doesn't get to be asked any of this on cross-examination, first of all, because it would prejudice El Chapo, but also it would prejudice the government's case.
So everything in this trial has taken a long time. The judge is going to give several hours of instructions.
It would take hours.
Why?
Well, I was looking at the indictment last night and this morning. No surprise to you. And if you go through page after page after page of this indictment, one of the things that this jury has to deal with is the difficulty of finding the proof in their notes, in their collective memories, to be able to check the box that these things happen. For example, within the RICO count, which is the main count, the Racketeering Influence Corruption Organization, you had a criminal enterprise, the Federation in Mexico, which ran drug trafficking into the United States of America. The Sinaloa drug cartel allegedly became the head of the Federation, and they managed everything. But when you get to the dates, so I'm just going to give you a quick example. 3,200 kilograms in January of 2005, 800 kilograms in April of 2004. This goes on for pages.
Yeah.
And then we even have exact dates, November 12th, 2006. I'm just picking any one of them.
Just a lot of info.
So you can't, as a jury, just say, oh, yeah, he's guilty of everything, check, 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 check. You've got to go back. We've been doing this, Vlad and Anne-Marie. We've been talking about this since November. So you've got to go back and find the witness who testified about that particular incident, and then say you believe that witness beyond a reasonable doubt. So if the jury is doing their jobs, I will not be seeing you this afternoon with a verdict.
So then that was going to be my next question is, I mean, how long could it take for them to deliberate and come to a conclusion?
It depends on how organized they are. Let's assume for the sake of argument, and I don't want to make it for any other assumption, let's assume they believe that El Chapo was the head or one of the heads of the Sinaloa drug cartel, and or that he engaged in all of these other counts, meaning the big counts. He imported cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, marijuana. He distributed it, etc. So let's assume he's guilty. But then to go through each date and make sure that there's proof, we're really talking about something that a very organized foreperson could do methodically and quickly. But if they're disorganized in there, I may be seeing you next week.
All right.
Rikki, thank you so much.
Looking forward to that, Rikki.